Hey, welcome back to my apartment. This is What's Worth Doing, a show all about the leaps people have taken to get to where they are today and the leaps they hope to take next. My next guest is a dear friend named Samir Wagle. Samir climbed to the top of the food and restaurant business, leading places like McDonald's and Chipotle, Protein Bar, and then just a few years ago decides to put all that aside to help people find their place in the world. And this story is all about that leap.
If you kind of look at the arc of my career, I've been moving more and more towards kind of better for you, better source food all the way through. Since the 80s, what had happened to food was more fat, more sugar, more salt, larger portions. And it was fun to go to places that were thinking differently and going, what else could be done?
You went McDonald's, Chipotle, Protein Bar, and then 1111?
McDonald's, Chipotle, Boudin on the West Coast, Protein Bar.
How long were you at Protein Bar?
3 years.
And you were CEO?
Yeah. So
you're at the top of the company. You're in a job that sounds like right up your alley. Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming you're experiencing some success. Protein Bar was growing under your leadership. What causes someone who's in that position to make a move?
Yeah. Great question. I probably would go way back, and when I was growing up, and it's the idea of what I heard as the American dream. Big house, fancy car, huge bank account. And that's what I was going to drive towards. Yeah. And you do that. I did that for lots of times. And you learn stuff, right? I mean, things don't always go your way. You don't get the promotion you wanted. Your results are less than you expected. On and on and on and on. And you keep going because the ethos is do that. Keep moving and you'll be rewarded.
Right.
And I think it was probably in my early 40s that all of a sudden I stopped and I looked at the list and I checked all these boxes that I thought were right.
Right.
And I looked and I realized, I don't think this is my list. Like there was probably some person named Bobby and it was Bobby's list and it was exactly perfect for Bobby. But that wasn't my list. When I stopped and said, what are all the things that make me happy? And what are all the things I have kind of an aversion to? Then in reality, shouldn't my list, shouldn't Samir's dream really be all the things on that first list?
Yeah, or else you're just sort of looking around here and it feels like you got teleported somewhere you never wanted to be.
That leads to the conversation, right? Which is, all right, what would that list be for me? What are the things that really do make me happy? And I start looking and going, these are the things that are super important to me. By the way, what you learn is like, even when you're going through and creating your list, like there's some things you go like, oh, maybe money isn't the most important thing, but just because money isn't the most important thing doesn't mean I don't want money. Money's a really useful tool.
We're trying to reframe where money fits, how big of a slice of that pie it is to you. Both when you have it or when you don't have it. Either way, same challenge. How big of a slice of the pie is it going to be for you?
For a long time, money represented how I thought of myself. And maybe that's not as helpful as it could be, for example. And some of these are things that we are told all the time.
Right.
And so part of it's just looking and going, what really would make me happy in life?
After all this experience around the world and building companies and working with some of the best people in one of the largest industries in the world, what was left as you were reflecting?
Well, it wasn't that everything I'd done wasn't worthwhile. That's not how this works. Mm-hmm. What it is you start to have the ability to kind of go, what were the things I was doing that I really enjoyed? And what were the things that I did because I thought I had to do? If I didn't have to, I wouldn't do it anymore. Mm-hmm. And then the next step was just to peel the onion back more and go, I can probably actually make a real good living doing only the things I want to do. Like, can I actually believe that that is true? Which is super hard.
Well, and just to be honest for a moment, like it does sound a little bit like airy fairy, like not realistic. You want to make a lot of money and have a nice life and like there's a struggle to be had. Like not everyone gets what they want all the time. How do you combat that and sort of settle those voices that tell you no, stay on this checklist that Bobby made for me.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah.
But it also, no one said, take the whole list, take Bobby's list and throw it completely out the window. I didn't have to completely turn left or turn right. I didn't have to do those, right?
Yeah.
What I needed to do was look and go, what can I do now that gets me closer? And then try.
And so what were the paths that were ahead of you? And yeah, what was the leap that you took?
It was an evolution of me going, well, maybe if money's not the most important thing to me, what does that give me the latitude to do? I did some big stuff. I actually ended up getting divorced. I left my job. I don't recommend doing this path, by the way.
Was this around the same time?
Within 6 months of each other. Yeah.
Oof. Samir. Ugh.
Yeah.
Brutal.
When I was at Protein Bar, we'd had a facilitator come in, and she had talked about the concept of happiness. I said, well, what do you mean by being happy? Because they don't hear that much in the business world. And she said, what if being happy meant all the conversations you have stuck right here, you went to those people and you had the conversation? What if being happy required you to look at all the broken relationships in your life? And you had to make a real commitment to either fix them or let them go, and truly let them go. And what if being happy meant you looked at all of your habits and the ones that don't serve you, you stopped. And I think I was just in a point to be ready to hear that. It wasn't like I had no plan. So for example, I said, I'm going to go into restaurants, but it has to look like this.
Sure.
And as that started to show up, I realized there were lots of jobs out there, but miraculous. I mean, just utterly shockingly, my perfect job wasn't just waiting for me to show up.
So 2016, 2017, this is all happening. What happens next?
So what happens next is I get an opportunity with a company back in California, a group of people I really respect and admire. I get questioned on, is this really what I want? Is this what I want, or is this just easy? And for me, that is always the trick. Easy, by definition, is something that, like, I don't have to think a lot. I can just go do.
Right.
And that's not always what I call the best choice for me.
Yeah.
And so I just sat there and said, what am I really good at? And I've been doing this, I've been thinking about this, right? There's been plenty of swings and misses at this point.
Yeah.
And I realized that the thing I loved the most was building teams.
When you realize that, what do you do with that? Can you make a career out of building teams for people?
We'll see. But my belief is certainly yes. And what I will tell you is, and think about just how this feels for you. If I come to you and say, Victor, we're going to find you a job that puts you at the intersection of both your talents and your passion, would you be interested?
Oh my gosh, of course.
Yeah.
I would say I'm sort of there right now, but yes, of course, I would be interested. What do you do? You had to tell this team in California no. Is that right?
Yeah. I did. I said, I was like, okay, well, this is what feels true. And I talked about it with a group of people. You know, as I mentioned, I have a lot of great people around me. My partner, Renee, is amazing, a great counsel, and many others. And I just said, look, this is what I want to try. It's kind of hard to tell people, I want to put you at the intersection of your talent and your passion if I'm not playing at the intersection of my talent and my passion.
Right.
And so that becomes the driver. Is look, this is what we're going to do.
So 1111 is the name of the firm, right?
1111. Yeah.
And how do you describe the work you do in a sentence?
We find leaders at the intersection of their talent and their passion and place them in conscious organizations.
Now, that line, did that line show up on a sheet of paper, on a sticky note? What does it look like at 11 p.m. at night or 6 a.m. in the morning?
It looks like a lot of work at both of those times.
Yeah.
It's a question of continuously just refining. It's easy to walk away. It's a lot harder to just kind of stay the course and go, what am I really trying to get at here? And the reason we're called 1111 partners is because a common belief is if you're seeing 1111 on the clock frequently, it means the fates have aligned for you to follow your destiny.
You know, we talk a lot about at EI this whole show, right? It's what's worth doing. We talk a lot about a very similar concept of what is it that you enjoy making? What do you care about solving in the world or making a little better? And then who do you enjoy spending time with? And we're trying to help people take leaps into the center of those 3 questions for them. What does it look like in this next few months, this next season, for you to take a leap?
One of the things we're seeing is, obviously with the current COVID situation, is there is a real shift in the labor market. And there's a lot of fear. There's fear from employers. There's fear from candidates. What we realized was one of our objectives this year was we said, we're going to place X number of people in jobs they love. And so the realization was we didn't say, hire this many candidates, get paid this much, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Traditional search is get a client and then go find the people that fit.
Right.
And we're now beginning to look at it the other way and saying, let's talk to candidates and see what they really love. And then we'll help them find places that fit them.
What's so interesting about looking at your past is you've always been focused on sort of culture and people. And now it feels like a little bit of a switch of that. We're focusing on people and then the culture. You're doing it at a time when we're in the worst economy, at least the worst job market in history now. And for you to switch that, to focus on people, feels like a real gift, but also like a real messy thing to do. What does it look like to be a rock for those people, to be a safe place for those people?
It feels great. I get more out of it than they do, probably, truthfully. There is just something that is very powerful about being with people who are very committed and are just trying to get to the next step. When you think of the Kubler-Ross model of grief and loss, there traditionally was 5 stages, and now they recently added a 6th. And the 6th stage is meaning, which is you've gone through this experience. What is it that you can learn from that?
Samir, you are a wealth of knowledge. I am so grateful to call you a friend, and I'm so grateful that you joined us on What's Worth Doing. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Victor. You're an amazing person.
Yeah, as are you. Well, we will be watching your progress and cheering for you from afar. Thanks so much, Samir.
Take care.